Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello! Or if you are brand new to Drewling Samantics, we're Drewling Samantics. We're here. Hello. I've tailed off quite rapidly there. I came in with all the energy, and
and then you explained things, and it all went down the pan. Yeah.
I'm not an explainer. I shouldn't do that. If you are new to Drewling Samantics, you will learn that. I was going to say you're the brains of this outfit, but then I couldn't think of something that I was. So, I can't give you that when I don't really know what the alternative is.
And now it's really insulting because I can't think if I'm the brains who you are. So I think with two, I can't be complimentary. Oh God, we kicked off the season really well.
Yeah, this is a great start.
I think we are two hemispheres of the same brain. How about that?
I mean, if I knew what that meant, mate, I'd completely agree with you. Isn't a hemisphere something to do with the world? Like it's half...
It is, but a brain is split into two hemispheres. Or
Oh, is that when they say you're left-brained or you're right-brained?
Yes. Yes.
What's the difference?
I think one of them is creative and the other is analytic.
Ooh.
Or some people that are that display sort of like with a little bit us. It's like a right brain. I think that more people have OCD and things like that. Could be wrong. And then someone like my wife who thinks completely bizarrely and can't catch or throw very well is very left brain. There we are. If she watches this episode, she can deliver the divorce papers to the right side of my brain.
But yeah, so we're in all of a minute. We haven't actually said who we really are. I've run out of ways to describe myself and don't know what I'm doing. You've insulted your wife.
I'll tell you what then. For anybody that is just, we are now in season. We've just finished our 12th season. There we are.
Yeah.
And we're into the season. We've been going. People that are joining us, that are lots of our friends, family, followers, listeners, watchers, etc. You will know this, but we started during the period of lockdown, and we've been going ever since then. It was a way to keep our brains and our artistic. And my doorbell's just gone, and that's a very, very important parcel that I have to go. While I've gone, Sam, I lay you down a challenge. Just describe me to the listeners and watchers, and when I come back, I'll describe you. One moment, I'm going. Bye.
Okay, so this is slightly new for me. I don't think either of us actually have ever done a solo bit of the podcast. The one time where Drew did disappear before, we had a lovely guest on, so I was able to talk to our guest. But we are Drewling Samantics. My name is Sam, and my partner, who is obviously conspicuous by his absence, is Drew. And Drew is an actor. He's been acting since the dawn of time. He's about 800 years old. And normally, if you live to that grand old age, that would give you time to grow. But he stopped growing when he was about 4, because he's the best part of about 3'2" tall. But he is fabulous. He's incredibly talented. All he's ever really done is acting and performing. And there he is. Hello, mate.
I have no idea what you've just said.
No, you'll have to watch this back for
I'm going to watch this episode and find out. That's really... never done that.
Let me finish. Right. So I am honoured to share the airwaves with Drew, because he is incredibly knowledgeable about our industry, the performance industry, in case you hadn't guessed. Anything from acting to modelling to voiceover to singing to dancing and all the other side of things as well. We have guests on every other week, and we talk to them about what they do, and that does include the crew side of things, or the creative side, who are not perhaps in front of a camera or on the forefront of the stage. But Drew's knowledge knows no bounds. I
Steady.
guess I'm just here to look slightly prettier. I suppose that's what it's all about. But yeah, so there's a rough introduction to what Drew does, who he is, and what we sort of do. I'm going to let him take over for a bit now and see how much he repeats and how much is completely different. Over to you, mate.
Well, you go, oh, this is great because I don't know what you said. Fantastic. All I can say is that as I said, we started this during the lockdown. It's kept us sane, and it was Sam's brainchild. He had the brilliant idea, rung me one day and said, look, nothing's happening. Isn't it depressing? Isn't it horrible? But we are two old mates. We've shared some great times doing some, which probably told you, we've done some interactive theatre, some dinner theatre together.
Doing that at all.
There we are. But we didn't have, and we used to meet regularly to work together. But that obviously didn't happen. So in an effort to, keep ourselves sane, two people who have quite strong opinions about things and have a good laugh and a good banter, and we're different age groups, which is brilliant. Sam is, of course, just a mere stripling, a mere boy. And I'm an old git. And it makes a lovely pairing.
That. Yeah, I did say.
That did, yeah. But Sam, I mean, the lovely thing about Sam is he's wonderfully organised. I tend not to be quite so organised in everything I do. But as we'll discuss a little bit more, it is either a business you're terribly organised in and you make steps in or not. And we've discussed this. Sam is a great performer. His great love is musical theatre, and he does have a cracking voice. He's a wonderful improviser. We love working together. We have a love of comedy, and we have a genuine love of what we do. He's a great voiceover artist. Look at him. Look at that face. A model. If you're not looking, he is good looking. He is sickeningly good looking. I hate him.
And that's an insult.
I managed to roll that one in there. But it is, and he's used the word, but it has been my honour and a distinct pleasure over the last 12 seasons, some 4.5 getting on for 5 years of chatting as Drewling Samantics every week with someone I regard who's a great friend, a good mate, and a fellow professional. And that's why we're here. There we are.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, bye.
I'm touched, mate. Thank you so much.
It's true.
And
true.
When you listen back to what I said or watch it back, you'll realise that you shouldn't have said any of those things because I was just mean.
It was slating me, weren't it? And for anybody who wants to know, my parcel that came through the door is some printing cartridges because my printer was playing ridiculous games yesterday, and I had to order some print cartridges in an emergency. There we go. That's what my parcel was.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
There we are.
But yes, so there's a sort of brief introduction to who we are and what we do. But essentially, as Drew said, during lockdown, the period where we were joined by, as we like to call it, the unwelcome guest, we were stuck with what to do. We were lucky that we could still do things like voiceover and other remote jobs, but a lot of the industry couldn't work at all. It was really upsetting. It made us angry because the government didn't really support in the right ways to begin with. But go back to the start, listen to some of that stuff, and it's much more relevant at the time, and you'll see where we were coming from. But here we are, as Drew said, about 4.5 years later, still going. That's thanks to an incredible following, some lovely people, some superb guests. As I mentioned, we have guests every other week from all different areas of the industry. We chat to them about what they do, why they do it, and hear all sorts of stories that perhaps you wouldn't realise if you didn't talk to these kinds of people. We are what we like to refer to, or what is commonly referred to as jobbing actors, which essentially means that we are not that big name up in like sparkly lights on Hollywood posters, but that makes us no less important than the superstars or the rich and famous actors and performers out there, because everyone plays a part in making the entertainment that we do. And whether that is someone who deals with wigs backstage, someone who creates the posters to advertise new films, someone who is, painting the door in the background of the set. There are so many different people that come together to make this job work. And we wanted to basically expand people's awareness of that and open new avenues into finding out how the entertainment industry works, which is what we've kind of done for the past 10 200 and something weeks, 200.
I can't remember how my math is not
absolutely mad.
good.
However long it's been.
But I mean, you made a very good point there, Sam, because we're not names or anything, and people are more likely to meet, performers, professionals like Sam and I, and the people we've had on the program so far, the podcast so far, because we are very ordinary people, and we are. I mean, I'm to the acting world like the guy that came to service my boiler this morning. He was, we're professionals, we do a job, and we're very proud to do that job. Occasionally, we get little blasts of loveliness, and we're elevated beyond the norm for about 10 minutes, and that's wonderful. But more often than not, we're elevated above the norm by the sheer honour of people, what come to watching our shows and our performances, and listening and watching to the podcast. And that's why we're still here, because we love doing it, and we know we have, and he's probably listening to this. We have someone who has watched and listened to every single episode, and he knows who he is, Neil. And he's also been a guest. He's also a very talented and wonderful performer, a great professional. Sam and I have had the honour of working with him, and he made a very pertinent comment a little while back. He said that it is because of when we started this and what the history of the past several years. We are very much, if only in the entertainment industry, we're a little social document, a little historical document of what went on during that time and how we entered in that stage and we come out the other side of it. So as Sam said, go back and listen to our earlier episodes, because they're very. I mean, I did during our little break between the last season and this. I did have a little listen to some of them, and we're a little bit better at what we do now than we were then, and we've learnt a little bit. But also, there were some things then that Sam. It's fascinating to listen to what we were going through personally and professionally. There were weeks when, one of us would be right down and worried, and it was a very worrying and concerning time, and other weeks where we were both bubbly. It's a very interesting journey we've been on. Yeah. Talking of journeys and talking of breaks between seasons, Sam, what have you been doing since I saw you last?
Well, I was going to say that we should steer back, and you have done nicely, onto new things and updates and fresh stuff, because we're very aware that we spent the last 10 minutes telling a lot of listeners and watchers everything they already know and have probably bored them to tears. So thank you for sticking through that. Thank you for all your years, weeks and months and years of following, watching, listening, subscribing, whatever you've done. So this is a show for the new people who are coming in, just discovering us. We welcome you, but equally we welcome back those that have been with us, be it for one season, be it for all previous 12 and this one as well. Thank you all so very much. We've been honoured to have you join us as much as we've had the guests join us and one another to come and have a drink, because that's what we do. We come and we have a drink, and the feel is that we're in a pub or in a comfortable place with a mate having a chat. So that's what we want to bring to you. And that is absolutely what we're doing. And I will get on to what I've been up to very shortly, Drew. But first, I've mentioned a drink. We should do that. We should cheers.
Yeah, I've been sipping a little coffee.
Cheers,
Sam, what have you got there?
I knew you'd do that. So for anyone not quite working out why Drew reacted like that, normally I have a beer. It's when we first started the podcast, we'd always have a beer or an alcoholic drink because the pubs were shut, and we were like, do you know what? Let's have a drink.
Have a drink.
But I've indulged over quite a period of time, and this is new season, new me. So I've been to the gym this morning. I'm trying to go to the gym every other day if I can help it, and then doing other like sort of fitness, running and what have you as well. So this is protein shake because beer is reserved for special occasions. Not that this isn't a special occasion, but you're bored already.
No. I just on you telling me that you're not drinking. I need a drink now because that's just. But you're looking at. See, that's something. I mean, I know you as I said, as this fresh-faced. I've got my fingers crossed, but no, is this guy that takes care of himself. I mean, I know you always have a beer, but you always have good quality beer. That has to be said. It's good quality beer. So obviously, any
That's how
weight
that
that you,
works.
well, it's not the cheap stuff. I mean, it's out of a can, but it's not, you're not going to find your beers, clutched by, some poor sod sitting on the side of the road, are you? Unless that poor sod happens to be me in a couple of years' time.
That is, yeah, or me. It depends how the industry goes, doesn't it? But no, so
Yeah.
as I said, not new year, new season, new me. I want to get into decent shape for various reasons, and for personal like satisfaction. Like I want to feel good about myself, and that sort of loosely links in with us because that is part of why we do this as well. Not only to make us feel good because we do enjoy having a chat and having a laugh, but equally
Yeah.
we want to. We're in the entertainment industry, and this is an entertainment podcast. So we want people to be entertained, to feel good, to feel happy, to laugh, to enjoy, to be shocked. And to add to that shock, Drew, what have I been up
Yes.
to? Not very much.
I don't believe that because, I mean, you've always got something going on, luckily.
Since we last did the podcast, I've had a fair few modelling jobs.
Good.
I've done a couple of kids shows, a couple of the immersive dinner theatre that we do a lot of, and just little bitty things. Lots and lots of self tapes and auditions and what have you. But it's interesting because last year, and those of you that have been with us for a while will know, last year was insanely busy for me. I had a UK and Ireland tour of a musical, then I had an open air theatre tour for a couple of months, and then I did a massive Christmas contract which started in November and ended in January. So for the best part of about, I'd say, 8 months, I was fairly solidly working, which in our industry is a rarity.
It's usually the other way around, isn't it? It's usually eight out and 4 on, months wise.
Exactly. So last year for me was constant, which was brilliant, and I loved every minute of it. This year has been the opposite so far. It's been lots of little sporadic, bitty jobs. Not that they're of any less worth, of course, but I'm talking more time frames and perhaps length of engagement much, much shorter. But that doesn't mean that the times in between those jobs that I haven't been doing anything. And actually, I want to come to that in a minute. But first, I'm going to ask you, what have you been up to recently, Drew?
Well, I've again, it's a little bit like yourself. I've had some small projects, lots of small projects. I've been working, doing the interactive dinner shows, which have been great fun. I've done a little bit of filming. I did 2 days on a new horror film, which is fabulous. And we were shooting at the weekend because of availability of locations. So I've been doing that for a couple of weekends. I've also been doing, we put a show on February half term, Jungle Law, which is an adaptation of the Jungle Book stories. So we did a second set of stories, and we took the story in a different way this time. So that was that. We along with my wife, we were producing, casting, directing, writing, and acting in that. So that was quite an experience for a week. So yeah, lots of little bits, and I've got little bits coming up as well. But in between times, as I'm sure you're going to allude to now, I've been working at being an actor when I'm not an actor. Explain, Sam, because I know you're going to do this better than I.
Well, I'm not sure about better, but I can perhaps elaborate a bit. So
Yeah.
the reason I wanted to mention this is for both new and existing followers and listeners and watchers, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the very non-glamorous side of acting. I mean, it's already not glamorous because we're not George Clooney and Brad Pitt who have millions and squillions of pounds and can do what they want, and people come to them rather than audition. And you know what I mean. But it still is, to an extent, fairly glamorous that you stand on a stage and perform, or you are in front of a camera and perform, and people applaud you, or people pay to watch you, or get paid to model or talk. So you are revered in a sense, regardless of what sort of form you're doing. But to get to that point, you have to do a lot of donkey work. And that is probably what I would say takes up 70% of the time of being a performer, I think is
Yeah.
probably a fair. So let's look at an average day. So, and forgive me, people listening and watching, if you find this boring, but I think it's quite intriguing because when you tell someone you're an actor, normally the response is, "What have I seen you in?" or "What have you been doing recently?" or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So the sort of accepted idea there is that when you're an actor, every day you go to a place where there is a camera or there is an audience and you perform. But actually, that tends to be just the end result of everything else you do. So, on an average day, I would probably say I spend at least 2 or 3 hours sat in front of a computer screen, laptop, phone, tablet, whatever, looking for work. So that would be, there are lots of different websites and ways you can source things, but the main ones being Spotlight, the biggest sort of UK casting website, um, Mandy, once known as Casting Call Pro, Star Now, V Show Cards, and there are a few other sort of bigger ones, and then lots of sort of smaller ones. But it's a bit like looking for a job because that's what it is. It is looking for a
Yeah.
job. But the difference lies in the fact that rather than you go, right, this is what I do, here is a place that is looking for that qualification, let's apply for that job, and you maybe do three or four. And it's been a long time since I've done a muggle job, a normal job. So I may be sort of slightly off piste with that. But if you're looking for, I don't know, if you're a plumber and you're looking for an in-house plumbing job for a company, there are probably 3 or 4 vacancies that you might find through a job site, and you'd apply for those. With us, it's a bit different in that I would say I do at least 5 to 10 applications a day.
Hmm.
And 2 of those might be voiceover, 3 of them might be modelling, 1 might be a film, 2 might be commercials, and 2 might be theatre. So I've already applied for, let's say, 5 different jobs there. They are all very different. Yes, they all come under the umbrella of being performance, but the applications are completely different. You might have to send off different pictures, you might have to do video clips, you might have existing video clips you can use. The same with audio. You might have a voice reel that you use that's suitable for that job. They might request a specific voice reel from you just to apply. So it's kind of like the interview stage of a normal job, but before you even get considered. So you're kind of, here's everything about me, here's what you want from me, blah, 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 blah. Please have a look. And then they'll receive that. Number one, they might not watch it, read it, even like acknowledge it. 2, if they do, they might go, no, not for me, not even going to progress to meeting in any way or any communication. So you've kind of got a couple of stages before what you would normally have. I guess the vetting stage of a normal job is people go, this CV looks all right, they tick this box and this box, let's bring them in for an interview or an online interview or what have you. We kind of have an extra stage or 2 before that, because and it's not all the time. Not everyone asks for audition tapes or examples of your work up front. Not everyone, but I would say it's far, far more common now than
Well,
it has been. Certainly,
yeah. I mean, and we all know why it's proliferated. It was because during the unwelcome guest, things were still being made, or still people were still preparing to make stuff. Still in production. So a lot of stuff was done online, like we're doing now. There were Zoom and team interviews and the like, and people asked for a self tape, which is very simple explanation. You take your phone, you do an audition into your phone or a camera, you edit that, and you send it through to whoever is casting or directing, etc., etc. And I think that has, for good or for bad, and that is a conversation for another day, that has proliferated. Some people love getting in front of their 15, 20 minutes live in front of people. But like Sam said, that sometimes will happen 2 or 3 stages down the line. You send an application, you then maybe requested a self-tape, and then you go in for the interview, and that may be several. And I've been asked to tape again for things. So there's lots of things. But you do, as Sam said, I pretty much spend the first 2-3 hours of the day, or sometimes, do something in the morning, something in the afternoon, of looking for those opportunities. But there's also other things that, because if you're a singer, dancer, a musician, and actors as well, that I know a lot of dancers, a lot of singers that then they go to practice.
Yeah.
They have to look after their instrument, and in some cases, literally, you have to practice. You have to do things to keep up, your tool, your equipment. So as well as doing that, very often, and I do some voice exercises. I do some things to keep, and like you're doing now, Sam, you're the maintenance. So you're going to the gym. I don't go to a gym. I have been to the gym, but I ride a bike and I get out for a walk. So instead of getting in the car and going to do the shopping, good workout is to walk the 2 miles to the shop and then lug heavy bags back the 2 miles back. That's pretty good exercise. I don't mind. So, but that's another part of when you're not working is always being able, because there's no good getting an audition and you're not physically or mentally or prepared. If you get it, and as we know, and as many people listening and watching us now, fellow pros, they'll know you can get a phone call and have to be somewhere the next day with a piece of paper in the hand, a song or learn a dance routine. You've got to be on it.
Yeah.
So there is also that maintenance, which we have talked about in the past, but that becomes part of your, when you're not working, professional day.
Exactly that. So yeah, so you've got this application thing, and it's also different in that these things can go live at any time, and it's so competitive, our industry, that you kind of need to apply immediately, or some will have a cut-off point where they go, we've received enough applications, which I know is true of normal jobs as well, but I would say it's very rare that a normal job will have enough applications within the first 3 or 4 hours. They'd normally run for a week, 2 weeks, from my very vague experience from years and years ago. I've seen auditions or castings go up in the morning, applied 2 hours later, or tried to, and it's been gone because it's just been, the response has been so big. So I do that, and I'm sure you're the same, sporadically throughout the day. So my phone is always on. I'm always getting emails. So if something pops up on email and I go, I'm perfect for that, I'll try and get on it right away. But aside from that, I will check 2 or 3 times a day on the websites and go, what's going on? Right, there's something. Whether that's apply yourself, contact your agent, say, please apply on my behalf, whatever that happens to be. But that process is there. Then there's, as Drew said, maintenance. So be that of yourself, if you are a singer or a dancer, to practice, to go to the gym, to keep yourself in shape. But equally, there's maintaining your profile. And that sounds a bit sort of like social media-y, which it can be, because social media has suddenly become this enormously important thing in our lives, particularly professionally. You kind of have to have some sort of presence on social media.
Yeah.
It depends what you're doing, how useful it is, but I know of people that have gone, I'm never going to go that route. And I think, and I don't mean this rudely, but I think it's slightly naive to not have a presence at all on social media with the way the world has gone. So there's maintaining that and making sure that your social media profile is up to date, or at least doesn't look like you've kind of vanished. And then there's the other side of keeping up to date. So all these websites we talk about where you're able to apply for castings, you have a profile on those websites. So back in the day when you were first doing it, Drew, that would be having your printed out 8x10s and your CV,
yes,
jobs that you take on audition. Now that's all digital and people can see it beforehand. So very rarely, if someone is casting and they're going to people rather than waiting for people to apply, they can go through and go, I need to find someone that, I don't know, is of this height, has this accent, they're able to do this kind of accent, they have this skill. So I don't know, let's say we're looking for someone of 6'3" or above, male, dark hair, who can do a Bristolian accent and ride a horse. Now, rather than waiting for people to go, oh, I can do all those things, I'll apply, these profiles enable the casting directors or the casting team to look and go, oh, there's someone there. Let's contact them and go, we're casting for this. You fit the bill because of da, 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 da. would you like to apply? Would you like to be considered? Would you like to come in and tape for us or audition for us or what have you? So your profiles in that respect, aside from social media, that the professional side of things also need to be up to date. So every time you do a new job, you want people to see that you've done that job. You want to update. So I don't know about you. I do mine roughly once a week because you don't want to do it the second you've done a job unless it's a really big, important job. But I will take stock sort of once a week and go, right, what work have I done recently? Does it need adding to my CV? Have I recorded anything recently that can update my show reel? Show reel being a collection of clips of work you've done that sort of show your abilities. Same with vocal reels, be that talking, singing, accents. So all these are things that you kind of need to keep up to date, as well as imagery. So in this industry, you have headshots. Headshots being a picture of you to show what you actually look like. So when people are looking, they go, that's what that person looks like. That is the kind of look I'm going for. We're not talking the over-processed social media, photoshopped, like everyone is the most beautiful person in the world, and then like you turn up looking like the back end of a bus or something when you go to an audition. Headshots are real. Yes, they are not candid in that they are posed, but they are as natural or naturalistic as possible to go, this is what I look like. So Drew's not going to have a headshot where he's got a full head of hair because he'd then turn up and they'd go, oh, is it fallen off?
Where's it gone? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like I'm not going to put on my profile that I am 5'6" and apply for stuff that is for people under 6 foot tall because I'm over 6 foot tall. So keeping all that up to date, obviously a lot of those things don't necessarily change, but headshots, we all age and we all change. Obviously, the older you get, the less you change, I think is probably a fair thing to say.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, for example, and in no way is this offensive, but you, Drew, will have to update your headshots less often than me at this point. As I get a little bit older, the gaps between each headshot shoot or each update that I do will also grow. But I look very different now to what I did 3 years ago because the grey's creeping in. Not that you can see it because I dye my hair. But whereas you look pretty much the same as the day I met you. So... ish.
Yeah, there might be a little bit less hair. It might be a little bit grayer, but yeah, in the main, I mean, it's interesting. You mentioned that because I've done that. So when we put the half-term show on, when we went through casting things, and we put a very specific breakdown out for the characters that we were casting.
Yeah.
So it was not a shock to anyone who came in and, oh, you want me to do that as well? We're going, yeah, you've got to be able to do this, 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 and this. We're not worried about anything else, particularly. If you can do something else, if you can spin plates, brilliant. We might use that for something, but everyone has bizarre skills in the business. But it's very interesting that when we went through, and we had a lot of applications, we went through. It was heartening to see that some people took a punt, and some people said, "I can do all those things, but I can't do that." And very often you go, "Do you know what? Let's get them in anyway because they look interesting enough." But there were some that we went, "You haven't read the brief, or someone hasn't read it, or do you realise that you are completely wrong for this?" So and that was slightly irritating. It was just slightly disappointing because it's like, well, bless you, you've wasted your time and you've wasted my time.
Yeah.
You could have used those minutes you were sending in an inappropriate application for this job to put one where you are dead right.
Yeah.
So all that maintenance of everything that you've spoken about, Sam, is so vital because, and then we had some from agents that sort of sent stuff through, and there was a couple, and in the end I went, it's from that agency ABC or whatever it was.
They never really
Jack and John agency. Let's not forget that because they're sending a load of rubbish through. And so you just would not look at that. We didn't have enough time to go, maybe they've sent someone good. You look at the photograph and go, oh, they're great. And then you go, oh, they're from that agency. And you read down and you go, oh, yeah, another one of those.
Yeah.
I don't blame agents for having a go, but don't just blanket bomb 25 people that are not, and that's the other thing of knowing yourself, what you're right for. It's like you say, you check, Sam, you check, like I do. I get the notifications through from casting things. Sometimes it comes, you go bang on. Sometimes it goes, yeah, but he needs to speak with a Mancunian accent. I don't have that. Everything else is right. So if you keep all those filters up and keep up what you're it can save so much time. Although, if we're not working, people think, well, you got loads of time on your hands. These things take time to do. You can spend a good 2 hours on job apps in the morning, make sure everything's right, sending the stuff through.
And then have to do it again at lunchtime, and then again mid-afternoon. And it's never ending. And I appreciate that lots of people go through similar things in other vocations, but I think ours is very unique in certain ways, particularly the amount you apply. I think that.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting that you can apply for a job and put two or 3 hours into getting a job. That you put the same effort into getting a 3-month tour another day as a 2-day filming job. Yeah. It takes that much effort. You could be asked for an initial application, then a self-tape, then a face-to-face, and it may be just for 2 days work.
Yeah.
You get the same process for 3 or 4 month tour. So it's, every job takes time. It may not always be a payoff in length of time you get it or money, but another thing is, do you do stuff during the day that just, apart from say maybe watching a movie or watching something, do you do stuff that just takes your head away from being, for want of a better word, unemployed or looking for work? I mean, I know I've got
stepping outside of the performance world to sort of like...
Yeah, have you got a hobby or something like that you do? Or do you find time? Because I think it's also very valuable to and some people we had on in the past, a lovely friend of ours, Aaron Garrity, said it's also important to be you on occasions. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with actually not being an actor for a couple of hours.
Yes, but I'm not going to talk about it because I think we should leave that to another episode and actually do the other side of things. How you keep sane when you're working in a job that, as much as it's enjoyable, has its stresses and strains as well. So I think that's the perfect place to leave that. Hopefully that's given everyone out there a rough idea of when we say we're resting actors or we're looking for the next job, that's some of the stuff we're doing. We're not just sat twiddling our thumbs or picking our nose or whatever. But again, welcome back to those of you who have been with us before. Welcome to those who are new. That was the first episode. And we haven't mentioned, Drew, the number 13. It's unlucky. The whole way through.
Oh. Mate, you're the organised one. You're the one who sorts these things out. And what have you done? You've just put the kibosh on it.
It's fine. We've done the episode now. It's all right. It was all good. We had your doorbell, but other than that, everything was seamless. So what we're going to do is we're going to go quickly before I have ruined it. But we'll be back next week, and we will have our very first guest of season 13. We'll be talking to someone who is part of our industry. In what way, shape or form, you will find out next time. But Drew, mate, it is amazing to be back chatting to you. Thank you as always for humouring me and chatting with me. And should we do it again next week, but have someone else in and all?
They can do the talking next week, Sam. Let's get somebody else to do it, shall we? Yeah, brilliant.
That's good to me. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.